Oftentimes what we get to hear about are those very common killers of marriage. Talk about lack of sex, domestic violence, finance, finance management in homes. These and many more are those very common ones we get to hear about from time to time. However, right here on this channel, we'll be discussing about those silent issues, those fundamental issues that have always been there. You just wasn't aware those issues existed. Hello everyone, this is your girl Omolola Pearl Samuel, aka Lady Pearl, and I say welcome to my YouTube channel, where we will be discussing about the silent killers of marriage. You heard me right, the silent killers of marriage. We'll be discussing about those issues that oftentimes we ignore or they are overlooked. We'll discuss about these issues. We will share life experiences so that viewers at home who are going through similar situations or challenges would know how best to handle the situations. You and I also will be learning and unlearning so that we can be a better version of ourselves, so that we can enjoy our marriages, so that we can build better homes and a better world, if you know what I mean. And on this very first episode, I have titled it The Exes Syndrome. Guys, the truth is, a failed marriage didn't just fail in a day. No. One thing must have led to another and then to another. And before you know it, the marriage crashes. So without further ado, let us watch this very short clip that I've put together. And just so you may know that this story is a true life story. So I want you to sit back, relax, and watch it, while we will be right back to discuss further. And just so you know, I've got a guest in the house with whom I will be discussing this topic further. So relax and don't touch that dial. I'll be right back.
Meet Gloria, a powerhouse of confidence and resilience, admired by all who know her. But even the strongest of walls can have hidden cracks. When a chance encounter with a charismatic friend from her past rekindled a forbidden connection, Gloria finds herself carelessly entertaining thoughts she never thought she'd have. The question is, will she find her way out before she loses herself completely? Or will the bloodlines between love, loyalty, and lust lead her down a path from which there's no return? Mr. Kula and Mrs. Gloria Ajala were at a restaurant having dinner when a tall, handsome guy in his mid-40s walked in. Gloria recognized him immediately, but his attention was drawn towards the table he had booked for himself. As he tries to grab a seat, Gloria calls his name, Femi Adams. Femi turns around to see who it was. To his utmost surprise, seated behind him was his high school girlfriend. Excitedly, he walked up to their table while Gloria jumped up and gave him a warm hug. That body contact sparked an ocean of feelings and memories. The two couldn't hide their excitement and completely forgot Kula. Her husband was there with them. This made Kula uneasy. When he couldn't take it anymore, he cleared his throat to echo his presence. With this sound, Gloria and Femi jolted back to reality. Gloria quickly introduced Femi as her high school friend. Mr. Femi and Mr. Kula shook hands, exchanged pleasantries, after which Femi left the couple to enjoy their meal. However, by this time, Kula was already pissed off as he felt disrespected by his wife's undue attention to Femi. He could also tell that something seemed to change about Gloria, so he decided dinner was over and asked they leave the restaurant. As they take their leave, Gloria walks to Femi's table to inform him they are leaving, while Kula stands by the side. Femi shook hands once again with Kula and then requested for Gloria's number. As Gloria started calling out her number, Kula excused himself, telling her to meet him in the car. Gloria and Femi hugged again and said their goodbyes. As Gloria and her husband, Kula, drove home, they had a heated argument about Gloria's conduct at the restaurant. Next morning, Gloria apologized to her husband. At midday, a call came in from Femi. They chatted for about an hour before they realized time was far spent. They said their goodbyes. The phone calls from Femi became a regular routine, and Gloria enjoyed every bit of attention she got from Femi. Femi invited her to several dinner dates, but she turned it all down. 2 months later, Femi informed Gloria about one of their old schoolmates' birthday party, which was coming up. He was hoping Gloria would attend so they could meet again. Plus, it was going to be a school reunion affair, as many of their old schoolmates will be in attendance. Femi also requested they have a dinner date after the birthday party. Gloria gave it a good thought and concluded it was a genuine reason to see Femi again and a good opportunity to meet up with old schoolmates and friends. She told her husband, Kula, about the old school friends party in a town 6 hours drive away from where they live. Hence, she will be gone for 2 days. Kula gave his approval, and for her convenience, he decided to buy her a flight ticket instead. This act of love and care from Kula got Gloria feeling guilty, knowing full well she might end up in another man's arms at the party. After 3 weeks, everything was set for the party. Tickets bought, party outfit ready, but deep down inside, she was uneasy about her decision to attend the party. Gloria was troubled knowing full well that she was still emotionally attached to Femi. She doubted if she could handle being alone with him. She asked herself, what if the unexpected happens? Will she be able to face her husband? With all these questions on her mind, she decided to open up to a close colleague at work, Jessica, about the whole thing. After their discussions, Jessica asked her a question. Are you sure you were happy in your marriage before you ran into Femi, or you just never stopped loving him? Are there issues you need to address in your marriage? Because from the look of things, you both have plans to make out. Gloria admitted she doubts if she will be able to resist Femi, and this was a part that she's been struggling with. She doesn't want to hurt her husband, but she's unable to control her feelings towards Femi. She keeps thinking about how good the guy is in bed and how he makes her feel. Jessica was confused on the best advice to give her.
Welcome back, everyone. That very short story you watched there is a true life story of a woman I have named Gloria. Gloria never knew she still had feelings for her ex, not until fate made her to meet her ex again. And now she's worried and scared that these feelings could end her marriage. Gloria needs our help. She needs our advice on how best to handle the situation. And like I rightly mentioned, I'm joined here with my very own husband, Mr. Benjamin Samuel, with whom we will be unraveling and unpacking the story together. We want to identify those underlying issues that exist, that is going on in Gloria's marriage that she's probably not aware of. We want to understand what is it that is going on in her head that she hasn't even discussed or told, or we haven't said in this story. And to keep the conversation going, do well to drop your opinions, your comments. If you have advice to give Gloria, please do well to share in the comment section, and let's keep the conversation going. Welcome with me once again, my own husband, Mr. Benjamin Samuel. So welcome to the very first episode of The Silent Killers of Marriage. How do you feel?
I feel excited about it, actually.
Okay.
Thanks for having me.
Cool. And we will be unboxing, unraveling the story together. I hope you're ready. We want your very, very honest contributions and advice.
Okay.
Because, it's going to go a long way to help save Gloria's marriage, and that's why you're here.
Okay.
So, to my very first question, you've seen the clip.
Yes, I have.
The story.
Yes, I have.
And for me, the very first question that comes to mind is, what do you think about Gloria's conduct? From a man's perspective, what do you think?
Okay. From what Gloria did, I think Gloria was she was just being inconsiderate. She wasn't happy in her marriage. And then from the look of things, I'm just going to look at it this way, that, okay, she's just been selfish. There are two things. When you look at the case very well, one thing is to be married. Another thing is to be happily married. Okay, Gloria is married, but she's not happily married. So from my understanding...
Hold on. It's like, I need to understand myself. Before we go into whether you think she's happy, she's not happy, what I want us to, analyze first is her conduct at the restaurant. What does it suggest? What does it suggest? How do you feel being Mr. Femi? Maybe I should read that way. How do you feel being Mr. Femi, sitting back and then watching your wife? How do you feel? What do you say about her conduct, and what does it suggest?
Like I said, if you look at it very well, what she did, right? Like I just said, she's just been selfish. She's only focused on herself without considering the other party. In all the marriages, there are always two parties, right? So now what Gloria did is just unacceptable, because I felt for the guy, like, okay, for example, you can't just bump into your head and suddenly just be happy, forgetting the fact that your husband is right there, right, in the same room. So for me, she got carried away. She allowed her emotion to to get over her. And for me, that is absolutely unacceptable. So there is no justification for what she did. She can't really control the fact that, okay, her ex just walking into the restaurant, which is not, she didn't know this was going to happen. But what I got from her response was that, she got carried away. She forgot the fact that the husband is right there, and she just couldn't control her emotion. Then she just went straight, and jumped into, the arm of a stranger out of nowhere, forgetting the fact that her husband is there. That is unacceptable.
I like the point where you mentioned emotions. I'm asking myself, why should you even have any emotions at the first? I know you've had something together before,
okay,
but looking at the space of maybe 10 years or 15 years, should there be any rush of emotions that will make you forget the fact that your husband is right there, and then you just, throw caution in the wind. And
this is
can you just talk about this emotions, because it's leading me somewhere actually, because
okay.
I'm asking myself, if there is an emotion, if you still feel something, if that thing could be that strong that you forget the fact that your husband is right there, then do you think she's happy in the marriage? Do you think is it suggesting that something is actually wrong in the marriage? That's what
okay.
I'm going to actually.
Thank you for that question. It's very good. Let's just unpack. They're in the restaurant for a reason, as a couple, right?
Yeah.
So obviously, for whatever reason or the other, they decided to go out, have fun, spend time together, as a couple. Mm-hmm. So now, out of nowhere, the unexpected happened. So for me, our body language, our reaction, and everything suggests that she's not happily married. Because irrespective of your previous relationship with your ex, the fact that you're married, you move on. You forget about the past. We all have our past. We can't really change the past, but we have the control of our future. Your marriage is your future. It's something you should hold, you should respect.
Cherish.
It's something you should hold together. Like with, you have to guide your marriage, jealously.
Yeah.
You have to be careful. But in this case, she's just been careless. She's been selfish. She's just like, okay, she just acted on impulse without thinking about the consequences. When you are acting, or whatever you do, always think about the consequences. Right? She didn't think about it. She just acted, straight away without thinking about, okay, you know what? My action is actually hurting someone. Unfortunately, in this case, we are talking about her darling husband. It is not acceptable. And in my opinion, right, there is no justification for her action whatsoever.
Thank you for that. Because, in my head, I'm asking again, is she right to have given out her phone number? Is she right? I don't know. I'm really, because giving out her phone number led to, a reconnection, a reestablishment of, should I say the relationship or something? Because if you look at the story, they kept the conversation going even after their meeting at the restaurant. They were talking practically almost every day. So I think that phone number she gave out, what can you say about it?
Okay.
Because what can you say about it?
You know one thing, there is a saying that when you are in a hole, you stop digging, right? It's bad enough that she gave, a big hug, the attention, to her ex, right? I see that.
1 minute, let me cut you. She gave a big. Is that a big deal?
Oh, it is a big deal. It is a big deal. It is a big deal. You are a married woman, right? You are not giving a, you are not just giving a friend her hug, right? You are giving. It's not just like, okay, oh, good to see you, blah blah blah. For me, I will expect a happily married woman to offer handshake instead of throwing herself into the arms of a stranger in the presence of her husband. That is not acceptable.
But
right?
what if, because I'm just thinking, what if, we could have a scenario whereby it's even the guy that is coming, asking for a hug. What would she do? Because
there are ways, you can't control how other people react, but you can manage your own reaction, right? Yeah, I understand where this guy, okay, it's just like, okay, oh, good to see you, then he opened his arms, yeah? But as a married woman, you are sending the message across to the guy that, what? I am married. So as soon as the guy opens his arms, what I would expect a happily married woman to do? Offer handshake instead. So that will automatically send the signal to the other guy. So one thing, I'm no longer available. Here is my husband right there sitting next to me, and I respect my husband.
Cool.
So by so doing, even the husband will be comfortable. Like, one thing, the husband will feel respected. He will be so proud that, one thing, this is my wife and she's done so well. Okay, now going a little bit further, I say, when you are in a hole, you stop digging.
Yeah.
It is bad enough that she threw herself, into the arms of a stranger. Now, exchanging your phone number, you know, right there in the presence of your husband, right? And we all know, right, when a man or a woman, right, gives out their number to the other party, it simply means call me, right? You don't just give out your number to, you know, to negotiate contracts. We are talking about your ex. You are not talking about your old schoolmate, right?
Okay.
So as soon as she gives out her number, right, Femi, what's the other guy's name? Femi will smell the blood. Like, that is something.
She's craving attention.
Maybe obviously, okay, I can't wait to kind of, okay, get back to this guy, you know. He can smell it that, okay, this woman, yeah, she's married or she's available. So I'm going to take my chance. So that was why she was happy. And right there, you know, in the presence of the husband, it is unacceptable. Sharing your number to your ex, you're actually inviting trouble into your marriage.
Good. Yeah, I like that point that you made, that, you know, sharing your number already gives, you know, that guy, you've sold out yourself, that
Absolutely.
You know, you can't wait to be in his hands again. And
Absolutely.
Of course, most men would grab that, or you know, that opportunity, which is a very good point. And I just want to, you know, playing the devil's advocate here.
Okay.
What if, you know, she just acted, you know, based on, you know, the, like you rightly said, emotions, and or she just couldn't stop to think, you know, for a brief moment. Now she has given out her number, you know, they got into the car, she had an argument with her husband, they got back home, she probably had a rethink, and then if you look at the story very well, the next morning she apologized. However, this is where I'm going to. Is there anything she could have done to stop, you know, to manage, or to, you know, to manage whatever had happened, and then ensure that that attention does not, you know, does not grow beyond that point? Because if you look at the story, she went on, picked the guy's call, and on a daily basis they kept talking.
Okay.
You know, what we should have, because, you know, some people, they don't really think before they act, but now the deed is done. What could she have done to stop it from?
Okay, that's a very interesting question, actually. What she should have done, right? The moment, okay, let's just give it to her. Okay, she acted on impulse and, you know, she gave out her number, right? But she kept inviting the guy. What do I mean by that? When the guy is calling you, you are giving him attention non-stop, knowing fully that you are married. I mean, you're married, right? Now, what exactly are you saying to the guy? Let's just be honest with ourselves. What's going to be the focus of their, you know, of their discussion over the phone? It's always going to be about their past. It's always going to be about what they used to do together, obviously. And this is a problem. I think all the married men should know this. If you refuse to give attention to your wife at home, there are many men out there who will give them more than enough attention, right? I'm just gonna digress a little bit, because you can tell that if the husband at home was actually giving, you know, the wife attention, right? Maybe the woman wouldn't feel that, okay, there is no need for me to be answering this call all the time. But, you know, the fact that the guy realized, the guy exploited the vulnerability, right? Knowing that the woman is vulnerable. So you can tell that she has all the time. Otherwise, if the husband was also calling, there is no way the wife would give, you know, the
so
attention.
Much attention.
But I am not trying to justify the bad attitude of the wife. She got it completely wrong. And that we cannot justify what she's doing. Okay, now you are giving your ex attention, talking about this and that. It's all about the past. It's all about how good he was in bed. It's all about, you know, a lot of their, you know, whatever they did before she got married. So that was exactly, the guy exploited a vulnerability to his own satisfaction.
Honestly, I like the point you just raised now, that, you know, she probably wasn't getting enough attention from her husband, and I think I want to agree with you. And that will bring me to, because you've started pointing it out already, that will bring me to my next questions. The underlying issues, and you've identified one already,
Yes.
which I like. Attention.
Yeah.
Attention from, both parties needs attention.
Yes.
And like you rightly said, probably while the man was at work, is that kind of person that would put a call through during the day to say, hey, babe, are you fine? Are you cool? Try to catch 5-10 minutes gist with the wife.
Exactly.
Probably that gap would have been closed.
Exactly.
Or maybe that would have drawn her back, called her back to say, what exactly am I doing? What am I trying to achieve?
From the story,
some other issues,
you can tell that, there are a lot of underlying issues, in the marriage. And, and the ex just try as much as possible, to jump, exploit that vulnerability. So which means if the husband was also calling like regularly, okay, hey, my wife, how you doing? Things like this, even if it's just 5-10 minutes, I would not expect, a busy man, to be on the phone with the wife all the time.
Yeah.
But the father, one thing, due to the nature of his job, we don't really know what he does. But from my understanding, no matter how busy you are, try as much as possible to create some time for your wife, for your family. So now the husband wasn't doing that. And now somebody just came out from nowhere, right? Jump into that opportunity. Then now the wife, she's also like, okay, an attention seeker, from my understanding, So she likes the attention she's getting, from her ex.
Every woman wants attention.
Yeah, every woman wants attention. Now, so that's why I said, one thing, she's vulnerable, right? And the guy exploits that opportunity in order to close the gap. But at the end of the day, he has a mission. He's on a mission.
Okay. So apart from attention, now we've identified attention, and we've identified being selfish as well.
Exactly,
I like that point, because she wasn't considerate of her husband's feelings at the restaurant. So we've identified a person as maybe someone, maybe wrong, maybe someone who is selfish as well. And what other thing will you say could be going on in that marriage? Because towards the end of the story, we're told that Gloria couldn't forget about how good the guy is in bed. Could that be? I'm
going there.
Could it?
I'm going there.
Because I know.
I'm talking to mature mind here, right? Yeah. As a married man, there are some things you need to explore, right? I'm talking to we men now, generally, right? There are some things you need to explore, you need to do. Most especially, I think there is another, there is a lack of communication here, right? The wife must have been complaining, probably in the bedroom, right?
Maybe she did not
complain.
So but, let's not blame the guy totally.
Maybe there are some women, they are sexually active, right? Even before they got into the marriage. Mm-hmm. But now, all of a sudden, the husband couldn't match the energy of the wife. This is where communication comes in, right? So when you are in a relationship, when you are married, you try as much as possible, to make sure you satisfy your wife, not just financially, not just emotionally, even sexually, right? Yeah. Because the wife was coming into the marriage, with a lot of experience. But sadly, the energy, I'm talking about the bedroom energy, the husband is unable to match. I'm just trying as much as possible to because if the husband is actually good in bed, by now, the wife shouldn't even be thinking about her ex, even despite the fact that she's been married for a very long time. Yeah. So there is another thing there. I'm just trying to say here, is there any reason why she's thinking about how good the man was in bed before she got married? So maybe the husband has a role to play here as well.
Which is good. I love the fact that you mentioned communication.
Yes.
Communication, is key, because if you feel, come to think of it, you have signed the contract. It's for better, for worse, it's a lifetime contract.
Exactly.
So if you feel, or we don't know it all, we all get better, we learn every day. If you feel, I want more from my partner, then why not just speak up? Let him know, let him or her know, okay, these are the areas I want, I want more, you could do better, we could match our energy. But if you're not talking, how would the man
You can tell, like I said initially, the man wasn't giving and is still not giving enough attention to the wife, right? He's only acting on the fact that, okay, he feels disrespected, at whatever happened at the restaurant. But if you look at it very well, right, okay, it's okay to apologize and move on. But what exactly are you going to do? Now the husband is able to at least understand that it's a problem. How do you fix the problem?
But as we speak to the end of the story, the man still doesn't know. Because that's why I like the point where you talked about communication. The man still doesn't know, because if you look at the story, the man was still concerned about the welfare, of the wife, traveling for that long journey. He even booked a ticket for her so she can be very comfortable. So you can see that the man has moved on from that incident. He's looking after the wife.
Okay.
But I think, like you rightly said, there's a communication gap there. The woman is not really talking.
Okay.
So I think the man is, to be fair on the man, I think he's doing everything he believes, is best for the wife. But for me, I would say Gloria should open up.
Yeah, I agree with you. But the man, even the husband, he has a lot to do here. Right. If for me, I'm just gonna, in my own opinion, if I were in his shoe, what I would have done, for me, I wouldn't even allow her to go, for that party. I mean, just because that is an issue, right? We really need to, try to settle, right? The husband is also not forthcoming, right? He's not happy. The wife apologized. But for me, I will be curious.
You're missing something. Okay. You're missing something. The party isn't immediately after that restaurant. So it had moved on. I think probably there's a period of months in between. So he really wouldn't just think that, that party is going to meet that same guy there or something. The man wouldn't be thinking. It's now the lady who knows that, this is going to happen. I'm going to meet this guy. The guy is going to be at the party. Femi is going to be at the party. And something might end up happening. And this is where our concern is. And that's what she wants us to, to address. And having said all of this, we've been able to identify, underlying issues. We've talked about communication. And for me, I don't know from you, even though you're still saying, the man should. For me, I think Gloria needs to open up to the husband. She should be the one to open up and say, my husband, this is what is happening to me. This is what I have in my mind, and this is the reason why I'm at the point where I have found myself now, and see if they can trash it out. Because from all we've said, I can tell, or let me put the question, is it safe to say Gloria is not happy in a marriage?
No, absolutely. She's not happy. And at the same time, why am I saying communication is the key here? I've identified that communication is missing. And what do I mean by that? As soon as they both identify there is an issue, we don't just brush it under the carpet. We really need to ensure this issue is resolved so that it doesn't have to repeat itself again. The man should have jumped into the opportunity by doing what? By trying as much as possible to open up. My wife, is there anything? Something must have, triggered your reaction. You got carried away at the restaurant. If I were in his shoe, I would try as much as possible to explore, to find out, is there anything I'm doing wrong? Is there anything? You can tell the moment Femi is talking to the wife on a regular basis, you can tell the wife is happy away from the husband. She's happy anytime she's on the phone with her ex. Then, obviously, the man wouldn't know this all the time. But for me as a man, I will know that something is not hard enough. I would try as much as possible. Okay, obviously, the first time they went out at the restaurant, it didn't end well.
Yeah.
I might try to say, you know what, let's try again. This time around, maybe we could go on holiday. Let's try as much as possible to work something out, right? Or even if I were the husband, I might volunteer to say, you know what, you are going to be away for 2 days, out of town for 6 hours. For me as the husband, I might offer to take my wife. So that at least then you would know, then I would try as much as possible to give her more time attention, communication, then we can at least, so by so doing, you are winning your wife back to your side. The man might not know that, okay, there's a guy somewhere.
Yeah.
But you need to try to step up your game as a husband. By so doing, you know your wife is vulnerable. And what are you going to do? You have to protect your marriage. You have to guide it jealously. If you refuse to speak to your wife, if you do not respect your wife, there are millions of men out there who are waiting for your marriage to break down. And what can you do as a man? Try as much as possible to guide your marriage jealously. So the man, I'm not going to blame him entirely, but he needs to step up his game. There are some things he's not doing, and the other guy seems smarter than him. And if care's not taken, the marriage is going to crash.
Thank you. You said a whole lot. And that would lead me to my next question. Because there is this saying that goes, your happiness comes first.
Exactly.
So if we, from what we've seen in this short clip, if we say Gloria's happiness should come first, it looks as if Gloria's happiness lies with the ex. Are you saying she should abandon her marriage and pursue her happiness with Femi?
No.
Because, she's been in this marriage. We want to believe that she's been happy all along before this guy, we appeared from nowhere.
Okay.
So where does the happiness lie? What do you think? Okay, if we are saying your happiness comes first, Gloria, go for your happiness, what should she do?
Okay, for me, we're talking about happiness here. Okay. When both parties are married, you both become one. Right. So you should forget about your own happiness or his own happiness. Now you are now operating as one entity. Joint happiness. Now she knows that she's no longer happy in the marriage. And now she's thinking about going back to her ex. From my understanding, which might be the case here, what I think she should do, whatever she was getting from her ex before she got married, she's got the opportunity to kind of, my husband, I think there is a gap in our marriage. Let's fix it. Right? Stop being selfish. Right? You are not even sure, Gloria is not even sure that, going back to Femi, she doesn't even know what's going to happen. Femi is probably married. Femi is, she doesn't really think about that. Femi is probably married and has got kids as well. Femi is just looking for maybe, I'm just going to use the word one night stand. Or Femi is just looking for just I'm going to play with her and just play around and mess around with her head and I'm married probably. But now we are talking about emotions.
So she needs to be very careful.
She needs to be careful and focus, work more on your marriage. Whatever you are thinking about, Femi, forget about it. Put all the energies, all the attentions on your marriage, on your husband. Talk to your husband. Whatever you think your husband is not bringing to the table, try to talk to him. Most especially even in the bedroom. That could be the reason why her heart is drawn back to her ex. So for me, I would expect her to be like, my husband is going to be me and you next weekend. And you know what that means? We are going out. We are going on holiday. Let's start. Communication. That is exactly what is missing. If you could tell, Femi is calling her all the time. The husband is not doing this. So now the wife needs to channel all her energy back to her husband.
To get that attention.
The husband seems like a good man. But he might not know, something is wrong with the wife. The wife is struggling. The wife is crying for help here.
She's not talking.
But she's not talking. Now the husband can tell. Yeah, she might not be talking. She might not be saying anything. But for me, I know, when something is not right with my wife, you can tell. The body language says it all. But the husband is not paying enough attention. He has a lot to do here as well in order to save the marriage. Both parties are not happy. But it is not too late.
It's not too late. I like that. It is not too late. So Gloria, you've heard it all from my very own wonderful husband here. It is not too late, and your happiness definitely lies in your marriage, because it's not just about you alone. It's now the two.
Yep.
Is now one.
Yep.
So go all out and fight for your happiness. And how can you get that happiness? Like you rightly said, there is a communication gap between you two. Try as much as possible to bring your husband, to that place, to that romantic place where you can talk, heart to heart talk, serious talk, so that you can let him know, these are the things I want in my marriage. These are the things that, I used to enjoy with my ex that I'm not getting from you. And he would understand. He's not a spirit. There's no way he would know what is going on in your head except to talk to him.
Absolutely.
So, like my guest said, number one is communication. We agree on that.
Yep.
There is lack of communication. These are part of the underlying issues in your marriage. And if you can fix that, create an atmosphere, create, that opportunity for both of you to talk. And we also agreed on attention.
Attention.
I think, Gloria, you need more attention from your husband and not from your ex. So the item, I think we didn't mention that she needs to cut off that communication.
Oh, absolutely. Okay, I forgot to mention that what she needs to do actually, in order to focus on her marriage, you need to block the gap, right? By doing what? By blocking off the guy, right?
Totally.
Just cut him off completely.
Yeah.
Channel the energy. Talk to your husband. Anytime the guy is calling, ignore his call. Pick up the phone.
Or even block.
No, even block. Even that's the best thing.
Because it's not a threat to your marriage. And we agreed your marriage is your happiness. So,
absolutely. That's what I would do actually. Just block him off completely.
Yeah.
And pick up the phone and call your husband. Say some wonderful things to your husband. Tell your husband how much you love him. Tell him that, my husband, I can't wait for you, to come back home. These are the things you can channel the energy, bring your husband to your side.
Okay.
Bring him back home. Then your marriage will be safe. It's just not too late.
Yeah, I like that. So, like you said again, say beautiful words to him, not just communication to say, oh, you're not doing this right. Say beautiful words to him. What are those things that he's done really well? That made him win your heart in the first place. Remind him of those things, praise him for it, appreciate him for those things, and then go ahead to let him know these are the other things that you are not doing and I would want you to do. And of course, do not just say these are the things I want you. What are those things he wants from you? Probably you are also lacking in one or two things. We also want to hear from, because communication goes two ways, both ways. Yeah. So you want to hear from him as well. Cut off that ex.
Agree. Just block him off completely.
Block him, whatever you need to do.
Fight for your marriage.
Fight for your marriage, because your marriage is your happiness.
Yes.
Yeah. So, and we also mentioned selfishness. Let's be sensitive. I really don't want to use the word selfish, but I would rather use the word sensitive. Let's be sensitive to the feelings of others.
Yeah.
And we are talking about your partner,
husband,
your soulmate. Let's be sensitive. It's not just about what you want, how you feel at the moment. Please, let's take some time, even if it's a few seconds to think back.
To reflect.
Hold back. We get it. You saw him, you weren't expecting to see him in that. You probably ran, you gave him a hug. We could excuse that, but going ahead to give your number, and so that brings me to the point. Let us be sensitive. I don't want to use the word selfish, but it might be too, but let's be sensitive to our partners. And what other things did we mention? Attention, sensitivity,
and
communication.
Yeah.
Those three things.
If she can work on those three things, that marriage will be safe, because the husband seems like a nice guy.
Yeah, your husband is truly, he loves you, he cares about you, he is a good man, and communication can bring both parties together again. And totally about this party you're about going for, I would say, what would you say?
I would say, right, if you really have to go with your husband. Don't go alone.
Okay.
Because trust me,
I like that.
You are going to be compromised when you get there. You are going to struggle, and one thing will lead to another, and you know what? Then your marriage will crumble. Because I know what's going to happen over there if you go. But if you really have to go with your husband.
If you really have to go with your husband. I like that.
Yeah.
I think we can end it that way.
Yeah.
If you really have to go with your husband. I'll just leave it where my husband just summed it up there. Go with your husband. And please, those advice, do not take them for granted. And we pray
Be prayerful.
that your marriage, you will find happiness again.
Yeah.
And thank you so much, my wonderful husband,
You're welcome.
Sharing I've learned a lot. Thank you for sharing your thoughts. And thank you, everyone. I hope you have learned one or two things. And please, let's keep the conversation going. We don't know it all. We want to learn. I want to learn.
Yeah.
I want to see how I can be a better wife to my husband and how he can also be a better husband to me. So please do well to share your comments, your thoughts in the comment section. Let's keep the conversation going. If you have advice, if you think, there are some areas we have not explored, please do well to drop your advice and let us keep the conversation going. On the exit syndrome, please always remember, there is no need bringing in your ex into your marriage. There is absolutely no need. It's for better, for worse. You have signed a lifetime contract. Put in all your energy to make sure it works, because therein lies your happiness. Wow. Viewers at home, I hope you have been able to learn one or two lessons today, because I have learned a whole lot from this story. And not just us learning, I want to believe, I sincerely hope that with our advice, we have been able to save Gloria's marriage. And not just Gloria's marriage, I believe that so many homes that may be facing or going through similar issues, they have learned one or two lessons on how best to handle such issues. And so I'm going to ask you to please like, subscribe, and share this video so that others can learn. And it's on this note that we will be calling it a day. We'll be wrapping up this episode, and until next week, I remain your very own girl, Omolola Pearl Samuel, aka Lady Bell. And I'm saying thank you for watching. Goodbye and God bless.